the main issues in UIA, one of the main objectives is to innovate, to support innovation in European cities, and UIA does enable this kind of innovation. So we invited 3 cities that have been completing or are completing their UIA project. We have Antigone Kotanidi. I hope we have her around. I see everyone now, so I cannot only focus on her, who's representing Curing the Limbo in Athens. That is a project focusing on refugee integration in Athens. Antigone, are you with us?
Hello, I was just able to join. Sorry.
Okay, perfect.
Delay.
You missed my introduction, but you know this. Anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have Luis Torrens from Barcelona, who's a representative of the B-MINCOME project of Barcelona that is establishing minimum income in Barcelona. I can see you, Luis, you're on my screen, so welcome and thanks a lot for joining us. And we have Cécile Dagmé from TAST'in Fives, from Lille, that is a social inclusion project organized around food. So I can also see you, Cécile. Hopefully I can, I have all of you 3 on my screen, so that's a great coincidence. Now, let's talk a little bit about the main policy challenges. Athens, of course, your project in a way is based on the 2015 refugee crisis. What gave you the specific challenge that you had to face in Athens, for which you developed this UIA project, and maybe also especially the policy gap that you experienced between different actors on the national or other levels? Antigone.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all. Nice to see some familiar faces here. How did the project start? Back in 2017, it was a couple of years after, as you probably all remember, a very big refugee crisis in Europe and in Greece. And following the crisis, there was, thousands of newcomers in the city of Athens that were already here for a couple of years, and our city was totally unprepared for the reception of all these people, and there was actually no framework or no national policy for integration of the refugees. So at the same time, there was, this whole discussion going on at the EU level with the creation of the urban agenda of how municipalities and cities can play a very active role in dealing with all those challenges, and refugee integration was definitely identified as one of them. So we really wanted to highlight the role of the city in playing role in integration and as a city government closer to the people. I'm sorry, I hear some sounds. If you can all close your microphones.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry
to close your microphone. Yes. Thank you.
So as I was saying, as the cities are very close to the citizens, we thought that the municipality should have a very active role in the integration of the newcomers. So there was a very strong political will, but there was no experience. So we identified this policy gap.
I'm sorry, I will mute all and
Okay, Ophelie, can you please mute everyone, and then let's give it back to Antigone. I think we have MC who's making a lot of noise. Yeah,
I will check with our tech people, but just go on.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, so
doing this after 1 year.
Okay, so I was saying that I identified a policy gap that we wanted to address, and we wanted to create an integration model from scratch. Now, the second challenge that we identified and we wanted to address was a limbo, the limbo situation in which a lot of people. I'm sorry, I still hear. I'm really sorry to stop, but I still hear someone else.
Yes. Can you please, it's actually MC that we cannot see. Can you please mute your microphone? I'm afraid they're not listening to us because they're doing something else, but let's hope there's a way to intervene. I cannot intervene. Yeah, please, Antigone, let's just go on, please.
Okay. Can you hear me?
We can still hear you, I think.
Okay, so I was talking about the second challenge that we identified in the city of Athens, and this was a kind of a limbo situation where all these people found themselves in. This limbo was created due to the very long periods of inactivity of the refugee population in the city. So people were waiting and waiting, for asylum, and at the same time there were many NGOs that arrived in the city and provided many services to the refugees. But these services were, more in the logic of. I was talking about the limbo situation where a lot of people found themselves in the city of Athens after the, long periods of stay in the country, waiting for, to get asylum. And there were many organizations, NGOs here to help the situation and to provide, first reception services and short-term emergency relief services, but these services weren't really connected to each other or to the city. So this created, people who were in a way passively receiving services, and at the same time, they had been stranded in the country for a couple of years. Greece wasn't their first choice. So all those things combined, created this inactivity and this limbo situation and that's where also the name of our project comes from, curing the limbo, because we wanted to create, as I said, an integration program that would lead to more autonomy and less dependency on the humanitarian programs. And we identified these two challenges, and that's how we came up with the idea of, creating a program that would help people become more active, more involved in city life, feel more at home. And we decided to, also connect them with a very active civil society. So that was the background of when our project started.
Thank you, Antigone. We'll get back to how you answer this situation. Let's move to Barcelona. Luis, you also took up, in a way, a role of the city that is not very common, no? So you were there to introduce minimum income, which is also a little bit of a response to the 2008 economic crisis and its consequences. Can you just very briefly give us the context in which you had to act with this, you thought of acting with this minimum income intervention?
Okay, thanks. Yes, the problem is that the scenario of the crisis of 2008 was not solved by the recovery of the years post the crisis, and we have a very big group of people residing in Barcelona that in a situation of social exclusion, and they were concentrated in some neighborhoods of Barcelona. And B-MINCOME was a project addressed to 10 neighborhoods located in this group of neighborhoods between the most deprived areas of Barcelona. B-MINCOME basically was a reaction to the insufficient policies of state and regional government levels that they have the competence to fight against the poverty, and will to move forward a new social model more capable to tackle such issues.
So this is very interesting. Yes, thank you. That you mentioned both Antigone and Luis, that it's in a way you're intervening in a situation where there's insufficient national policy. I give you back the word, Luis, if you have something to say about this.
Sorry, the idea was how to change this situation, but in a new, innovative manner. One of the problems that we have detected is the discoordination between the lack of coordination between the passive policy, the subsidies, benefits, for the people, poor people, and the social integration policies, no? That what we means the active policies. So the idea was to combine, no, under an only umbrella, no, control of under control of the municipality, all these policies, no, to be more effective, no, fighting against the poverty and the social exclusion. And this put no over the table, no, the big challenge, not to coordinate many actors that are responsible of some parts of the process, no, from the social workers or the benefit office or the private companies or ONG that are in charge of the active policies, etc. No, so we have a big need, no, to coordinate this and to have a whole vision of the social situation of a family or the beneficiaries of the project.
Thank you, Luis. Which this kind of coordination we will see in other cities as well. One of the great advantages or opportunities that UIA is creating, because UIA requires cities to build up local partnerships, which is something that many cities are not used to. So I guess we can also learn from this. But let's move to Lille, and Cecily, I'll ask you to just very briefly give us the context of TAST'in Fives. We talk about a neighborhood with social issues, with problems, and you bring in a very original approach to organize social inclusion around food. Can you just give us maybe in 1 minute just the broad context, please?
Yes. In the TAST'in Fives project is part of a larger program from the urban regeneration of an industrial factory. The site project is located in Fives, a former working class district, was strongly affected by the closure of major industrial sites in the 90s. So today the district is one of the poorest in Lille, characterized by a high level of poverty, where 30% of the population below the poverty line, for example, and 22% of the working population is in an unemployment situation. So starting from that, the construction of TAST'in Fives projects was done about 2 structural questions. First, how does a urban renewal operation respond to the problem of urban poverty? And then how to ensure that the success of a renovation program of that district into a qualitative eco-district will be tangible opportunity for the inhabitants of the neighborhoods. So the challenge was obviously to create local opportunities for inhabitants. TAST'in Fives, breaking with the usual practice of social aid, experiments a new economic and social model to fight the various negative consequences of urban poverty and to prevent the effects of social exclusion.
Thank you, Cecily. And for this, you created this food hub, this set of activities and services around food. Can you tell us a little bit about the results and achievements? What is that we have there now, and what do you consider as the outcomes of this project?
Well, your true food is the keystone of that project because it's an essential need of inhabitants, but it also represents a social economic vector for the future, and it's accessible to all, whatever your level, your skill level. So by setting up the common kitchen, which is the other name of TAST'in Fives, the city of Lille and its partner intend to achieve several objectives in the social and economic fields. So first, fight against poverty and social exclusion, as we said, but also to create links with and within the 5 districts, to encourage the enjoyment of food, learning to taste through education, and to provide access to better foods, boost economic activity and facilitate access to employment, empower residents and local stakeholders and make them actors of the development of their neighborhood, and finally, to improve the image and the attractiveness of that territory.
Let's think about what can other cities learn from you, no? Because we have to accelerate a little bit this discussion with the lack of time. Because I see a lot of elements here that I find very interesting. Also, experimentation in the sense that we discussed this before. You created a kind of a transitory process, a trial and error process from which you didn't establish very final structures, but you learn from the process on the one hand. You also got in touch with a lot of different partners around food. No, it's food-related enterprises, social activities. So, what do you think other cities could learn from this experiment?
Well, if we got to go directly to the end, I mainly first say that one of the big learning of that project was learning by doing, if I can say. So, as you mentioned, we have an experimental site to make the project for the three years. Indeed, experimenting such a project has acted upon trial and error, which has been made possible only on a location and buildings where there were less financial, physical, health, no communication risks. The developed plans can therefore become as close as the ideal of the user, because we get 3 years to co-construct with them. And the second initiative dimension of TAST'in Fives lies in the method proposed to get there. That is the co-production, as I said, of the solution, so as to make sure the redevelopment of the area wouldn't lead to more spatial segregation, but benefits to the socially deprived residents. Perhaps if I can have a word for one of the big challenge of that project is that we get a very, very big partnership relies on the collaboration of 14 partners.
Yeah.
I don't know if I get time or if
I would give a little bit the word to the others, and then I think this complexity of partnership is a big challenge in all the cities, and I think they all include this kind of partnerships. Luis, if you can tell us a little bit about the achievements and results of the project. Of course, you had to move this minimal income idea into an existing social welfare system, no?
Yes.
What do we have now? What are the outcomes?
Yes, it's interesting the speech of Athens, because they talk about the limbo situation of the refugees. No, in Barcelona we have not so many refugees, but we have a lot of irregular immigrants that are in a similar situation. So for us, the learnings of the experience of Athens is very interesting. So we can learn from them. No. In the case of Barcelona, the project, the B-MINCOME project, was specifically an evaluation project of the experimenting of new models of guaranteeing minimum income combined with active policies. So for us, the main goal was to evaluate the results of the different treatment groups in comparison with the control group that we have created with the same situation that the people that were participating. So the results, very, very briefly, was that the B-MINCOME, the warranted, was very effective to improve the well-being of the participants. So it's very clear, the subjective well-being, the deprivation, etc. But it was not so effective to some aspects as the labor market integration. This is not surprising, because all the basic income or other pilots that are in other parts of the world, like Netherlands or USA, etc., they shows that or Finland, they shows that the impact of the basic income is extremely high, in the results. But I think that the most important was the not expected, unexpected results. For example, we were very worried about the potential stigmatization of the participants in the project, but it was not the case. In fact, the people, the participants were proud, to participate in the project. because it was a pilot very focused on the integration on the people in their neighborhood, their community. So they have seen an opportunity, to fight against the real exclusion, because when Eurostat, when the statistics shows that the people is at risk of exclusion, really our people were in exclusion, in real exclusion. So the project was very effective to change this.
Yes, Louis, thank you. This is a very important element that there's a social service, or there's an integration process that also includes, besides the municipality, also different kind of community actors. And I think in Athens, this is very much the case as well. Maybe, Antigone, if for closing this discussion, if you can share us a little bit some of the achievements of the project, and also what can other cities learn from you, because you also relied very much on civil society in your project.
Okay, so what can I say? First of all, we managed to create, a partnership. We went and found, the best partners that were out there, all experts. We gathered all this expertise around the same table, which is a great opportunity that UIA gives us. But I think what we also managed to do is to take all these services and connect them to the city. So that's, something that had a lot of added value in our project, because apart from co-designing together, so the basic pillars of integration, which are housing and education and training and job counseling, we also added a component, which is how do all this connect to the city. So the city becomes part of the equation and makes services more efficient and people more connected. And that's because we wanted to try to help them develop this sense of belonging and become active again. I think it's also important to say that what we learned through this innovative partnership and through connecting, the activities to the city is that you can definitely find allies in these efforts when cities are trying to model solutions for big societal changes. You can definitely go out in the city and find all these important alliances, that can help you deal with those challenges. So we really went out there in the city. We spoke with the neighbors, the neighborhood. We found active citizen groups. We connected refugees with the citizens, and we created relationships that will last, after the project ends. And that's, I think, what's important is to involve a big variety of stakeholders, and landlords, employers. I think everyone has to be involved, because if the city is not involved, it's just a series of, provided services that are just going to end one day, and then the people are going to wait for the next ones to come.
Yes, thank you very much, Antigone. I'm really afraid that in 20 seconds we will all be moved back into the plenary room. I encourage all of you to check out the journals and the projects on the UIA website, because it's a really interesting project. Also, we will try to come up with more details about this discussion to you, because there's a lot of questions unasked and a lot of answers untold. Let's move back into the plenary. Thank you very much for being here with us.